Well, welcome back. Indeed, you are watching Channel 1 News Hour. It's time for Perspective, discussing issues that have been shaping the headlines throughout the week and the weekend. And now joining me in studio to discuss some of these issues, we have with us the Member of Parliament for Tigania East, that is Josephat Kabebea. Thank you for joining us this evening, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much, Catherine.
And also we have with us Job Ndege, who is a governance expert, and of course our resident analyst. It's good to have you, Job.
Asante sana.
Well, let's begin from what happened over the weekend. We've seen the church, the Catholic bishop, saying that now they have come up with a 7-point plan to try and address graft in the church, and one of them was now when we want to give donations to the church, you have to do it either through M-Pesa or mobile money transfer or through a check. Do you think this is a way in which we can be able to fight graft in the church? Mheshimiwa, I'll begin with you.
Thank you very much, Catherine.
Yes.
But I want to take you back in those days when the earth was created and there was Adam and Eve. And then they brought forth 2 sons. One of them was Abel and the other one was Cain. And they under a tendency of giving offerings. And remember, this is it's optional. You can give or you cannot. You may refuse to give. And one of the sons was giving very good offerings, and when it is burnt, the smoke was going direct. And the other was was giving very rotten, gifts. And then when they are burnt, the smoke used not to go up. And one became jealous of the other, and that is why he killed, the brother. And when God came, he was asking in the cool of the day, that's what the Bible says. And God asked Cain, where is your brother? And from that point, it's optional. You can give, you cannot give. And it went on. Those early days, those who read the Bible, there are people who are called elites. They are today's priests or clergy rather. Those Levites were supposed to eat from the gifts that we give to the church. So this thing of giving as a history, that is what I want to say. And it may be very difficult to stop giving because it comes from the heart and it comes from conviction in between. I mean inside, coming from the heart. What do you believe about giving? Am I giving to receive? What do you feel? Do you drive any joy from giving? Those are some of the questions. And I wonder why some clergy have said that we should not give, to the church. Whereas sometimes
no, they have said you give, but they want to account for who are.
Yes, but when you give to the church, we don't give to the clergy. We give to the work of God.
So what do you think? What do you think about their proposals? Do they make sense or they are overshooting?
You see, I draw a lot of joy when I give my substance. And there is no one who is supposed to come in between to regulate how much I give and how I should give.
Okay.
And remember, it's not only the money. You can give your animals, you can give you even, harvest. Yeah. You can even, if you touched and you feel that you want to give to the church, you can even give your own, even a car that you drive, you give to the clergy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, Job, do you think the accountability that the church is looking for should be that way? Because like Mheshimiwa is saying, you're not really supposed to flaunt what you give. You're just supposed to give without really having to say how much you've given.
Yes, giving is from the heart and is willing if you go to the religious books. But in the context in which the bishops were actually speaking to the nation, there has been the issue of corruption. And it is known that there are some people who, when they go to church to give, they don't give clean money. I think the church decided to take a stand that they are going to join the rest of the country in fighting the vice of corruption. Remember when there was a national conference on corruption,
Yes.
there was a lot of opinions and suggestions, strategies on how to fight corruption. And if you move back a bit, there's a time that the Anglican Archbishop, Reverend Sapit, tried to actually say the same thing, but in the context in which he did it alone. I'm happy that the Catholic bishops decided to make it a conference of all of them, where now it was the voice of the Catholic Church. And true, if there were people who were using church donations to either clean dirty money or to seek political favors, then for sure, this move, if it were to happen, is going to put a stop to such.
But
And
should there be a
the good of the
declaration,
country.
you know, that I have given this much to the church? Because that, you always say that what you give is supposed to be your, you know, your secret between you and your God.
Yes.
But now, with all this declaration, now we...
No, they didn't actually say that you declare. They just say that if you are going to give, make it electronic or give it as a check. So
Well,
that's the way that you
a check comes from somewhere.
yes, it comes from somewhere. Yeah. If I had money to give the church,
Yes.
what difference does it make to me as the giver if I go with a check or I go with cash? Nothing. In fact, it's probably even more private if I carry a check to the church. They are not obligated to actually announce it, but they can know that Job Ndege has actually given them some donation.
Some donation.
And my God will be happy that I've done that donation.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. The other issue that perhaps this touches on you politicians, Mheshimiwa, you are a politician and a member of parliament. And one of the proposals that, you know, the Catholic bishops were saying was no politics at the pulpit.
Yeah, what I before we go there, Catherine, what I would wish to state is that you see the work of God, building churches, building mosques is something that is continuous, and that I have never proposed one day that I want to give donation to a church. It is bishops and pastors and priests who sit down and see that there is something they want to do for God. They want to build, they want to do an altar, they want to buy,
Yes.
you know, a parish vehicle. And then now, because they love me, they approach me to come and help them. Yeah? So for us, because we have got many other base as politicians,
Yes.
if somebody decides that they don't want so much of my donations, you know, if anything, as politicians, we get a relief. Because I want to mention that right now, reason why it's becoming a bit difficult even to do business in Kenya is because of stringent measures that have been put when you're depositing money or when you're withdrawing. If I have a shop that is making 3 million total sales in a day, becomes extremely difficult. If I sell phones, I sell for 100,000, 50,000, at the end of the day, the total collection is 3 million. It becomes very difficult to take to a bank because you must explain where it is coming from. So to speak, it's like the bank is suspicious where you are getting your own, you know, the money that you are getting.
So how do we
if
fight?
the church becomes suspicious that I am supposed to declare where I got 100,000 from to contribute to a church building, you know, a project in church, then you know that now, because when you give, it's not because you have a lot of money, now you're trying, the overflow is what you're giving. Sometimes you even leave your children saying, Daddy, buy us some clothes, but now because you have an obligation also to help the church, that is why you sometimes overlook your needs so that you can go and help them. But if they say no money, politicians should not give money, it's a relief to us. But I don't, I know churches are good and bishops know it is good to do God's work. So it's just a storm which is coming, it will pass. We'll continue giving to God. There is no one who can stop us from.
What about playing politics inside the church? Going to, you know, sell your agenda inside the church?
But let me ask you, Catherine. You see, the work of a teacher is to teach. The work of a preacher is to preach. The work of a farmer is to farm. You know, my work as a politician is to, of course, influence or you know, or bring positive change to the people. But they must know, you must tell them we want to move from point A to point B. So you can only do that when you get an organized gathering. Tell them, okay, I come, give my contribution of 100,000, and tell them, guys, my office is giving bursaries. So all the needy children, let them fill the form so that I can give them bursaries. So we are not supposed to demonize the act of politicians talking in church, telling people what they want to do, explaining to them all the money that has been given by the government, what is supposed to do. But that bad politics, you know, character assassination, it should not be allowed, because it's the house of God. We must do things, or rather talk with a lot of decorum, because it's the house of God.
Okay. Job, just listening to him, do you think perhaps the church is is not doing this in the right way in terms of how it wants to fight the problem of corruption and also, you know, the dirty politics that he's talking about that happens on the pulpit sometimes?
Not really. I hear the Mheshimiwa when he says that a politician is supposed to talk to wananchi and explain that. But why will they do it in the pulpit? Why will they not, just like the church has organized a gathering on a Sunday or on a Saturday or on a Friday, if it's a mosque, why can't they organize their own on a Saturday as well or on a Sunday to explain all these things? I find that politicians take advantage of organized gatherings to come and perpetuate their politics, which is good for them, but it's not good for the rest of the people. One will go to church to listen to the teachings and the preachings. One will not go to church to listen to politics. I will want a choice. And that choice will be Mheshimiwa has organized a rally or a baraza. I'm free to go or not to attend. My pastor has organized a church gathering. I'm free to attend or not to attend. But politicians mixing the two differentiates actually people. So you don't have a choice as a churchgoer. In fact, we are just polite as Kenyans. In other places, I think people will be walking out of the churches when politicians start talking politics. And to make it worse is that whereas I think initially it will be good, like what the Moshe is saying, you will go there and talk about, you know, if you want bursary, please visit me there. Nowadays, that's not the agenda. These people go to the very holiest of the holiest point in the churches, start spewing abuse and venom and lies against others, against the wananchi. Now that becomes a bad agenda.
Let me give a comment. First of all, I want you to know that as politicians, we are either Christians or even Muslims. We are very religious people. And we are religious, and at the same time, we are leaders. Now, if a leader comes to a gathering, and I have tried it, and then I don't say anything, then people don't feel satisfied. Remember, you are the best of the best in that constituency or in that ward or in that country where our beloved president is the president of this country. And I want to tell you that when President Daniel Arap Moi, when he was there as the president, there's a way tuned, I mean, the way the nation believed that as long as he's in Kenya, you must hear his voice. And every time he goes to a foreign trip and comes back, there at the airport, he must address people. He must address the media, and people knows the Baba has come. Now, when he retired, and then President Kibaki came in, one day he came from, is it America? And he landed. He went home. He never addressed anyone. So there was that feeling of loneliness that Kibaki comes, has not said anything. So there is that being the father of that word, being the father of that constituency, that you must say a word that is going to, you know, affect people, you know, people positively. They expect that when I say, hi, here's my donation, you remember we have started building a class somewhere, and that class is going to, you know, giving direction, giving hope, giving direction. But what should be seriously condemned
Is the
that
negative
behavior
politics
of, you know, two politicians come, you know, they exchange bad words.
Okay.
And it's bad example, it's showing bad example in the temple of God.
Mheshimiwa, if you just picked from the retired president,
Yes.
he never used to address the church from the pulpit. He will always come out after the church, so then he talks. In fact, he was an ardent churchgoer. If you actually pick his routine for Sundays, he will come out and say, Wananchi, 1, 2, 3, 4. He never used to do it from the pulpit.
But Job, if you look at it, is it the politicians who take themselves, you know, to the pulpit, or they are invited by the same, you know, religious leaders? But that is a discussion we can have for a very long time when you start looking at the church and politics.
Okay.
So I want us to move this conversation forward because we are also trying to beat time.
Okay.
And I want us to focus on, you know, what has been happening in Parliament away from, you know, the church and politics.
Yes.
We've seen members of Parliament saying that, you know, Mwende Mwinzi, who was nominated to be ambassador to South Korea, must first denounce her, you know, U.S. citizenship before she gets up this position. What do you make of this discussion?
No, I think it's uncalled for. She has explained very clearly that she did not choose to be an American citizen. Neither did she choose to be a Kenyan citizen. Yeah. So when you are a citizen through natural occurrences, you have no choice. You can't denounce it. There's no way she can have decided not to have been born in the U.S. Yeah,
but what does the law say about, you know, if you want to run for public office, be a state officer, public officer, can you enjoy dual citizenship, Mheshimiwa?
Oh, no, you're not supposed to have dual citizenship. That's what the law says. But I think this should be the time when we should review some laws in this country. Because when you look at some even big companies here in Kenya, of course they are run by people who are not even Kenyan citizens, so to speak. So it's law, but I would wish to state, to me, it's a draconian law. Yes.
Why did we feel it necessary to put that in law, that, you know, you can't enjoy dual citizenship if you want to be a state officer or a public officer? What informed our decision?
No, I don't know the people who are making the law. I don't know what they had in mind. But you know, as time goes, we learn even through mistakes. And the law that applied very well and worked very well in 1960s and 70s may not work today. And probably it was put there because, you know, after the colonialism, people under a lot of pain about foreigners and all that. Probably that is the time when that law was put there. But I feel that could be the right time for us to review some laws in this country. Yes.
If you remember, perhaps, Job, what happened, you know, during the 2017 elections, the
Yes.
incident with the IBC commissioner, Rosina Kombe, who enjoyed dual citizenship.
Yes.
Do you think perhaps that could be some of the reasons why we felt that we needed this kind of law? Because the perception was you start a fire in a country, then you go to the other one because you can enjoy both.
Yes, the other spirit of that law was that you need to be dedicated to one country, and if, for instance, your loyalty is divided, probably you may not give the best in that country. But I'd also don't subscribe to that. Yeah, I also don't subscribe to that because if I were to take another citizenship because I've chosen, there'll be something that has made me choose that. And I'm a Kenyan by birth. So you can't deny me from being a Kenyan, yeah, even having chosen to be a citizen of another country because of business or sport or any other matter that would have made me do that. So it was a good law for us to allow Kenyans to have dual citizenship because we never had that before.
Yes.
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 It was probably good intentions to try to make our state officers be loyal to our country.
Yeah.
But yes, I can be patriotic to this country, but still want to go earn a living by being a sportsman in Holland. Yeah, that doesn't stop me from being a Kenyan. As I'm just earning a living, just like anybody else who's earning a living. Yes.
So it is the spirit that is more important than the letter.
It's the spirit that
So we are
Catherine, I want to bring it to your attention. There is somebody, a Kenyan, who has gone to court and Kenyan courts, and he is saying that there are many members of parliaments and even members of senates
who enjoy dual citizenship, yes.
who have dual citizenship, and he is saying that he wants them home.
Even
So-
EACC says it's investigating.
Yeah. So there is that.
There is that. So
Yes.
yes, all right. I also want us just to very quickly, because our time is running up, to talk a little bit about what is happening in your county.
Yes.
Meru, the issue, the Jubilee government is talking about food security.
Yes.
And we are seeing, farmers within Meru now deciding that we are not going to be growing some of these food crops.
Yeah.
Let us focus on the Mira business. What does it mean for the food security of the county?
It's good. Now, would wish to tell you that for the last few months, we have experienced some very serious drought, especially in my constituency. Not only my constituency, even some parts of Tharaka and the whole of Meru County, many parts have experienced very serious drought. And the government has given us relief food, but the ration is not enough, very small quantities, and even in terms it's not balanced food. So I would appeal to the government, although it has rained, but still it will take some time before the food crops
can come out.
They mature. So it's true, yes, there are issues to do with food security. Not only even with food security, even we have issues with our cash crops. It's a lot of noise because we got very little. The rates for bonuses is been lower than ever before. So there is noise, and we are appealing to the government that they should intervene to see what is eating the KTDA, because people were relying so much on, first of all, on coffee, then coffee, when
Most of them are now
then
approaching
later the tea which you are relying, and then also the rates are very bad. And finally, Mira, which had taken some petition that Mira should be a scheduled crop now, because it's the only crop which is helping us. And we rely so much on Mira that there is a joke that we crack. We say that the children of Israel, when they were traveling for 40 years, they were always chewing something. So as Meros, we say they were chewing Mira. So if whatever that can be done so that Mira can help farmers the way it is supposed to help, we are ready to pursue that.
But aren't you worried about, the food security itself if everyone goes to, producing the cash crop?
But I want to tell you that it's not every part of Meru that produces Mera. It is within the Achieng'a and Bene district. That is where Mera comes from. There are other areas which produce food crops. Maybe what the government is supposed to look at so keenly is provide a lot of water for irrigation. Okay. And also to subsidize things like fertilizer and pesticides. Yes.
All right, Job, the question of food security, are we going to be able to address it, according to the Big Four agenda that the government has planned, based on, the factors that he's talking about, the drought and the high cost of production?
Yes, if we follow best practices. Remember the Galana-Kulalo project that the Jubilee government had mooted in the first term. If such projects are carried to fruition and there is clarity, there is a purpose for them to succeed, then we'll go somewhere, because that zone, for instance, towards the coast, the Tana Delta, then you go to the Nyanza, there's some, probably, let me call it the Lake Basin.
Yes.
You go to some parts of North Rift Western, which around Mount Elgon. Those areas themselves, tapping natural environment water, is enough to feed this nation. And it's not a requirement that all places should grow the same thing. There's this thing called comparative advantage in economics. So if, for instance, in Meru, they can do very well in Mira, they don't have to do maize if maize can be done in Galana-Kulalo.
In a different part.
And so if
so it's more of the county studying among themselves.
And the government getting organized, and then we as a populace also getting organized.
All right, gentlemen, our time is up. Thank you very much for coming to our studios this evening, and of course highlighting some of these issues for us to know what is happening in the country. Of course, we've been talking to the Member of Parliament for Tigania East, that is Honorable Josephat Kabebea, as well as Job Dege, who is a governance expert and our resident resident analyst. It's time for business news, so stay tuned. Perspective is over.